my experience with the NextDoor app. I joined NextDoor maybe 3 or 4 days ago. It's now January, let's see. It's now January the 17th. So I'd say maybe I joined Monday or something. I don't know. Set up my profile. And I could attach my business profile. And so I made a business profile. I didn't put any money into it. I'm not putting any money, especially into NextDoor, which you can tell it's like some really low-end starter site. Now, it's very limited as to what you can do on it. I don't know if you can block, I don't know. I know you can report posts or comments and such. I don't know how they moderate, how they pick moderators, I don't know. But the moderators apparently are all local. So whatever your neighborhood leaning or your area leaning is what your mods are going to base their, their opinions on as to whether or not your post. I don't think it's like Facebook where they have clear-cut rules. Like Facebook has like minute specific rules as to what's considered acceptable and not acceptable. Same, probably YouTube is the same, but these are more advanced companies, whereas NextDoor is a starter. And so I think it just all falls on the whims of the moderators, which again, they're biased according to, like, I live in a right-leaning area. It's a rural area. And so the moderators are going to have a tendency to probably be right-leaning. Now, I only started, I didn't even hear about NextDoor. I was invited via email. So the company invited me, and that's the only reason I went. I started right away on my feed. I had an incident with my neighbor, and my neighbor has a dog. Been living there for a few years, just constantly having a problem with the dog coming on the property. They don't have a fenced-in area. They don't secure the dog other than a chain that he or she gets out of all the time. Dog's gone after my chickens. Dog's gone after my cats. And the dog's a bigger dog. It's not an ankle biter like I could just kick the thing. It's a bigger dog that I have to be afraid of. And I've gone over there and I talked to them several times. At least 5 times I've talked to them. And at least twice a year, the dog is on my property. And he's even once or twice cornered me in my ditch when I was either planting flowers or picking trash out. I couldn't get out of the ditch because the dog's up there barking at me. I'm afraid to get out of the ditch because, the dog might attack me. So, anyways, the day before I made my first post, or I first used NextDoor, I was going down to get the mail at the end of the driveway. Got a long driveway. The neighbor across the street yells at me. He's like, "It's my dog over there." I says, "No." I says, "But I want to kill your dog next time I see it." Something to that effect. He said something to me, and I walked back to the house. The neighbor, I think, is accepting if I kill the dog. I don't think the neighbor would be upset because I've had conversation before with him. I've had conversation with his mother. His mother told me, "You know what? You do what you got to do. If you find the dog over there going after your chickens or your cats, you do what you got to do. Your chickens, your cats are not coming to my property. This dog is going to your property, so you protect your property." Right? And I thought that would be it, but then like 6 months later, the dog's back over here. And just like I said, at least twice a year. This is my business, by the way. And you can find me on Facebook. That's where I keep up on most of my goings on with my business. Anyways, the man has come over a couple times and he asked about his dog. And the first time he came over, he says, "Did you shoot my dog?" And I was like, "Not yet." So I think he's okay with like me protecting the livestock. But it's very inconsiderate. It's beyond rude to let to not do something, secure your dog when you know what you're securing it with does not hold up. So anyways, all that happened, yelled at him, I want to kill your dog or something like that, and walked back. And the next day, I see what pops up on my NextDoor feed was somebody saying, "Oh, my neighbors are threatening to kill my dog." I might add here, I'm not the only neighbor that went over there and complained to him about his dog. All my neighbors have had problems with his dog. So we're all dealing with this man's dog, right? So I can imagine they probably said they wanted to kill the dog or something. So anyways, they said there was a post. At the time, I didn't know that right under the profile you could see what area they lived in, like what city they lived in. It said the person said, "My neighbors are threatening to kill my dogs because my dogs go over there, blah, blah, blah." And I thought, oh, this must be my neighbor. So I wrote back, I says, I don't know if you're my neighbor. Brief summary, I said, "I don't know if you're my neighbor. If you are, let me tell you. Let me explain to everybody here. I've come over to your house many times and explained to you the problems I had with your dog. Your dog keeps getting loose. You don't secure it tight enough to where it's not coming on my property. It goes after my chickens, it's gone after my cats. I've repeatedly asked you to do something, and you don't." I says, "I once had a dog come and kill at least 6 of my chickens before I was able to put it down. I don't want to do that to your dog. I didn't want to do it to that dog. But you need to secure your dog." Now, prior to that, everybody was yes-womaning this person. Once I put up my post, all of a sudden people kind of chimed in people liked my post, and some people kind of chimed in. It's like, yeah, sorry about your dog, but you have to keep it secure. You can't expect your neighbors to lose property over that, whatever. So that was my first post. That went okay. Second, and I like some things. A lot of people put like little comics in there, which I like, little happy comics. Well, apparently this one woman that I don't know, I was following or whatever, she usually posts these comics. Well, it showed up on my feed. It said, "My apologies to the, people I offended by this post I made, the comics post with pancakes and syrup, ditty. I didn't mean it to be offensive, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, I kind of knew what was going on. I wasn't positive. I didn't see the post. But I was thinking it must have been an Aunt Jemima thing. I wasn't sure about that. But when I responded, I said, we must be mindful. White person to white person, we must be mindful of what we post. Our posts can sometimes be hurtful to people of other demographics. But in the end, a few more sentences. In the end, I said, "But it sounds like you deserve this." Boy, did that tick them off. And after every comment was yes-womaning. Yes-womaning. Nobody was for correction or reproof. Which is what we're supposed to do for each other. We're supposed to be helping each other leading each other in the right path, you know, bringing us back into the fold when we're going astray. And to use a religious analogy, well, boy, did that throw a shitstorm. That started a shitstorm. And the woman responded, I did note that I didn't see the original post that she was talking about. And she says, well, you said you didn't even see the post. It wasn't offensive, blah, blah, blah. Now, white people, stop here. You do not get to say what's offensive to other demographics. Men, you do not get to say what's offensive to women. White people, you do not get to say what's offensive to black people. Or Asian people. Or South American people. You don't get to say. You are not of that demographic. Now, black people are not a monolith, just like white people are not a monolith, just like women are not a monolith. Some black people I've heard say they're okay with Aunt Jemima. Some people say, well, you know, it is what it is. I don't like it because it's stereotyping black women as the mammy figure, which is what I see it as. But I do find it offensive. And some black people do find it offensive because it's stereotyping the black woman as the mammy figure. That's how I feel, but I'm a white person. Because I know it's offensive to a large segment of a certain demographic, I'm going to avoid that, and I'm going to advocate for white people avoiding that. If people of color want to do the Aunt Jemima thing, let people of color do it, because they will not appropriate. Aunt Jemima started with appropriation. White people appropriating black women. It was started out of racism. So, if it didn't start out as racism, they would have made her white. You know. But they didn't. They made her black because they wanted to make a caricature out of black women. And so, anyways, the woman goes on to say, I think this was a completely separate post. She says, well, I can't understand how people are, why people are on my case about this. And of course she got more yes womaning stuff. And I responded to one commenter and I says, I did not say what she says I did. I just told her that she had to be mindful of what she posts. And she posts something offensive, so she did deserve the backlash. Well, boy, after that, everything. And then people are telling me that I'm cancel culture and telling me I'm free, anti-free speech on NextDoor. I'm anti-free speech on NextDoor. Anyways, we'll get to that. They also told me that I should scroll on if I don't like, the post or the comment. And so I responded to these people, you're telling me, the ones who told me to scroll on, I says, you're telling me to scroll on, and you didn't scroll on when it came to my comment. Hypocrisy much? And I said that to everybody that told me to scroll on. And I said, and to the people who said I'm cancel culture, I says, cancel culture doesn't exist in this day and age. Not with the internet. You don't know what that means. And anyway, so I made a post on my own page, and all these stuff started getting hidden, so I knew it was just like plain old bias. Either OP or the people were just on a rampage to me. Again, hypocrisy. It's like you didn't like it, so you try to get it hidden when you're originally saying that I'm trying to cancel that person, which I didn't even, and I said I did not report that post. I do not report things on NextDoor. There's no need to. their rules are so strict. You know, you can hardly post anything. So anyways, I wrote on my profile, I says, there's no such thing as cancel culture anymore. With the internet, you will always find a space where you're welcome. I also said NextDoor is, and if you're anti-cancel culture and pro-free speech, you're going to throw that out there. NextDoor is the worst place to be on. I wouldn't call it cancel culture, but it's the closest thing to it. I says it. I mean, I've gotten hidden for being disrespectful. What? How is that even a rule? I've gotten posts hidden because it's public shaming. Like what? And all this stuff was thrown at me too, and then posts didn't get deleted. Mine, in response to theirs, force with force, not any harsher than they gave to me. Mine got deleted. So, but theirs remained. Or mine got hidden, not deleted. They got hidden. And so I posted on mine, I says, you know, if you're going to say scroll on, then scroll on. If you don't like my comment, then scroll on. Don't be telling me to scroll past what I don't like, and you're just going to, you know, report me or, you know, say something to me because you're complaining that I said something to this person, but you're going to say something to me about saying something to that person. It's like, huh? And I says, free speech, you're using all these terms wrong. Free speech, you can't, legally you can't even say anything that you want. But on these websites, they have rules. They're privately owned. They have rules, they have regulations. Some are more loose, some are more strict, like NextDoor. You got to follow the rules. And NextDoor is the strictest one I know. So if you're if you're calling me anti-free speech, what are you doing on NextDoor? I didn't report any of your posts. NextDoor took down some of mine, which weren't any worse than yours. You know, so I just went on with it. And then I just eventually, you know, I just put a post because all my comments just kept getting hidden. And eventually I just replied, you know, this is stupid. This is very biased. It's for right-wing people. I'm just out of here. And I don't know if they monitor as closely somebody's personal profile. Like, Facebook really doesn't. I mean, I think they monitor the public posts, but I've seen a lot of things on private posts. Like, people post stuff that, you know, with abusive language on it, like racist stuff, and it's on their private Facebook page, so I don't think Facebook, but Facebook is so big, they might just not have the manpower or woman power to do it. Maybe, you know, you got to report, I don't know. But anyway, so I said my goodbyes there, but NextDoor, again, I wouldn't call it left-leaning necessarily, because my posts were left-leaning, and they were getting hidden. Now, maybe if you live in a left-leaning place, the mods are more likely to be left-leaning, and so moderate according to that. But it is definitely not a left-leaning site. And all your moderators are local, at least at this time. This year of our Flying Spaghetti Monster 2024. So, you know, you can get on there. I would recommend not using it. It's just a gossip channel. It's just as bad as them Facebook pages that have been known to get black people killed. Ahmaud Arbery was one of them ones that got killed. It all started as a Facebook post, racist Facebook post, and then that came to fruition in real life and he got murdered. So anyways, I would recommend not doing it. It's just gossipy, and very judgy, and very nosy to the point of possibly causing someone their life, their job, their family. I would just stay away from it. It's a shit show.